Tom Morrison is Executive Director of the Institute for Human Rights and Business from the United Kingdom. John, up to you. Muito obrigado.
Thank you to everybody and the organizers. Apologies for speaking in English. Não falo português, but I'm learning slowly. I'm here to launch a website, another website, www.megasportingevents.org. So if any of you have access to the internet, feel free to go on the site now as I'm speaking to you. For the purposes of the translators, I am skipping quite a lot of my speech for the interest of time. You'll probably pick me up on page 3 or 4 when we get going here. So as I speak, you'll see some slides showing some pages from our website, which is launched today. We've already had the organisers of the Commonwealth Games ring us up in London this morning. So we're already getting some interest from megasporting organisers. Now, the benefits of megasporting events are manifold. As well as the feel-good factor they often generate, the public and private investments associated with these events often stimulates tangible benefits, and we saw some of those in the video that we just watched. They create jobs, they improve infrastructure, they develop housing and regenerate urban areas, they promote healthy lifestyles. The Football Cup in South Africa created 130,000 jobs. The London Olympic Park created 46,000 jobs, and the Olympics in Athens created new public housing. Disused old industrial areas have been renovated in Sydney and in London. However, campaign groups have in the past spoken of forced evictions, for example in New Delhi in relation to the 2010 Commonwealth Games, and there are also evictions in the USA in relation to the Atlanta 1996 Olympics. There are also concerns about the treatment of migrant workers in Beijing and in Sochi, and also in Qatar with the 2022 World Cup, very serious concerns about the treatment of migrant workers. Sponsors too face scrutiny, as has happened to Dow Chemicals in the London Olympics, because Dow acquired Union Carbide, whose pesticide plant in Bhopal, India, had killed thousands of people 30 years before. So long legacies can cast long shadows over these games. So staging a mega sporting event will cast light on any host country, including its human rights record. But the governing bodies are learning. The International Olympic Committee, for example, now emphasizes legacy and has intervened early when it believes human rights abuses may be taking place. Significant steps are also being taken to set a roadmap to ensure sustainability. FIFA, for its part, now requires football manufacturers to meet international labour standards and audit their factories. In 2012, the governments of Brazil, Russia, South Korea and the UK signed an accord in London to protect human rights in relation to the Olympic movement. The staging of sports events is a complex exercise. It requires logistics, speed, cost considerations, safety and quality. The stadia have to be sturdy, the trains should run on time, and the experience should be pleasant for all participants and spectators. Sport represents high ideals. We should therefore expect organising bodies of the sports, FIFA in the case of football, the International Olympic Committee in the case of the Olympic Games, to commit themselves to open, fair and participative principles, such as it should be natural that the stadia should be built without serious accidents, that no force is used in moving people from their homes to other locations, that people who wish to demonstrate politically or oppose the events peacefully have the space to do so, that the toys, t-shirts and goods sold to celebrate the event are made by workers who are paid fair wages and children are not used in the manufacture, that the sports equipment is made in a sustainable manner, and that workers who build the infrastructure and provide services are treated with respect and dignity, and we heard about that this morning. and that the city's residents are not inconvenienced and are able to carry on their day-to-day lives without massive disruption, and that the city's poor are able to benefit from the event and not just the city's rich. So for over a year now, we at the Institute for Human Rights in Business have been researching the impact of mega sporting events on human rights. These events are important contributions to the economies, creating jobs and infrastructure. They attract sponsorship from the world's largest corporations. Organizers purchase goods and services from suppliers from around the world, and the events they stage are watched by millions of people. We record a lot of our thinking in this report that we wrote last year, and there are copies of the report outside. Here in Brazil, we've been working with the support of the British Embassy to better understand the human rights risks and opportunities. We've met with representatives from Brazil's federal government and municipal governments, the Rio Olympic organizers, members of the business community, civil society, unions, academics, and affected rights holders. We held 3 multi-stakeholder workshops in Sao Paulo and Rio in January and March this year, and several people in this room were involved in those events. We've highlighted the importance of engaging affected communities, particularly those likely to be evicted as a result of major events. But we have also noted the steps already taken by the Rio 2016 Organizing Committee to tackle issues of disabled access, for example. We're aware of its supplier sourcing code, and we are encouraged to see that it is working on a complaints and dispute resolution mechanism. We're encouraged also by the efforts of the Secretariat of Human Rights of the Presidency to tackle the risks of child exploitation in the World Cup, and the Ministry of Labour and Employment to promote decent work. Such steps are very important signals of commitment to human rights and should be welcomed. We've now compiled this learning in dynamic form on the website, www.megasportingevents.org. Initially in English, some of it already in Portuguese, but in the next few weeks, everything will be in Portuguese, and then in Russian, and then in Arabic, and then in Japanese. It's for businesses, governments, civil society, academia, everybody working to make these events better. The approach the website takes is to invite visitors to explore the issues through a series of questions, such as, what are the key issues involved? How do the organizers and companies involved in mega sporting events operate? What principles must they bear in mind at each stage of the event life cycle? What criticisms might they attract? How do they deal with challenges and solve problems? What standards do they apply, and how are these standards monitored and improved over time? How can each event be better than the last? We should, of course, remember that the human rights issues involved in staging mega sporting events are not necessarily unique. Land gets acquired and people have to move for many projects, large and small. Workers have to work on tight deadlines. Goods have to be produced as per schedule. Roads have to be built, trains have to run. But in particular, with respect to major sporting events, if force is used, if practices are discriminatory, if workers' rights are violated, if workers suffer from ill health or die in accidents, if local neighborhoods suffer inordinately, if restrictions are placed on the poor and the marginalized and vulnerable communities, and if children are used in the manufacturing of products or providing services, then not only are laws violated, but also the spirit of the games. It affects the reputation of sponsors, the builders, the city, the event itself. Now, we don't think our website has all the answers to complex challenges yet at all. We only launched it today. We're talking extensively to all interested parties and listening carefully to highlight the critical issues. The new website we are launching today will remain a work in progress. We will continue to add new material as we learn more and as we get more from everybody in this room and from other places. We're already talking to the organizers of the Tokyo Olympics in 2020. We hope to go to Qatar later this year. We very much feel that the legacy of the World Cup here and Rio 2016 is important for Brazil, but it is important for the world. This is a process of learning for all concerned. organisers, sponsors, governments, suppliers and local people. But rather like athletes training for an Olympic event, the sooner a new host or candidate city can get started with addressing their human rights challenges, the greater the chances of success will be. And this is one sport where everybody is deservedly a winner. Thank you all, and especially to our partners here in Brazil and to Ethos for this excellent event. Thank you.